So I took about 5 minutes and I experimented with some other font options for my headline. I wasn't very thrilled with what I had before. It was just too plain. So I found this really nice font, War is Over, and another one, Sun Valley, which I believe are premium fonts. So you may need to find out how to purchase those on other websites. But you can find a whole array of other fonts online as well. But just playing around, I wanted to have more of a custom kind of look to it, a little hand-drawn kind of scribble marker and just kind of some grunge effects. And I shifted the photo up a little bit and I reduced the, I think I reduced the feathering. Or I increased the feathering so it looked a little bit more screened back, a little less opaque, because it was a little bit too strong. And I moved the line down here and made it a little bit thinner. And I'm also applying to the website, all I did was highlight this. I took the eyedropper tool and sampled my headline font and made it a little bit smaller. So there's kind of a theme with the font. You can kind of see it here, but you can also tie it in on the top as well. So I wanted to do something other than a boring block of text. So I decided to make this thinner and maybe a little bit smaller. And I want to feature the band names. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to copy this and we're going to start over so we can continue to practice working with our fonts. So I'm going to make just a typical square rectangle, go up to our type tool. We're going to do area type tool. I'm just going to click up here. I'm going to paste in my band names. And let me find a font. Let me just stick with Open Sans for right now. Just adjusting some of the spacing. I could do it here as well. So let's see. What I want to do is I want to break this up into a couple different columns. So I'm going to actually copy, let's see. I want to have 4 band names. Let me add another band name. I'm going to do 4 and 4. So I'm going to have 4 on one column. And let me copy and paste. And 4 on another. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see this better. Okay, so I'm going to make this italic maybe, and make it smaller, and maybe italic. So let's say we feature quite a bit of band names. So let's say this is a pretty big festival. I have 3 columns right now, so that looks nice. One way to kind of break it up, I need some more visual elements or objects to break up this information. I guess maybe add a line here. Just copy and paste it. This is kind of a popular thing to do. Copy and paste just adds something to break up the big block of text. Just a little visual aid. So I think that needs a little more spacing. Space that out. So I can make this a different color. Maybe I can sample my purple background and make it just a little bit of a lighter version of it, so it's not as intense. That's one option. I'm selecting everything here. I'm holding down Shift. I'm just going to make everything a little bigger. And kind of bring this element together. So this is one unit. Make it feel like it's one unit. So I brought that a little bit closer. And I don't know if I need this line anymore. So let's go ahead and delete that. So we might want to put social media icons or something here as well. Let's make these a little skinnier. A little skinnier. A little skinnier. Of course, I could always copy and paste it so I can have each one be the same width, but just doing this quickly. So let's zoom out and see what we have. See if we like the overall look of it. I think I can make the photo maybe bigger, more impactful, emotional. And see how I have drop shadows on each one of these layers. And you notice how the drop shadow, you can kind of see it almost looks like a 3D stacked appearance because of the drop shadow a little bit right here. It looks nice. Let me move that a little bit higher. So I think I might play around with the photo a little bit more. Not super happy with the photo, but I love the blending mode. And we'll go over blending modes in more detail in the next lesson. But we can go back up, blending mode. I just took a pause and adjusted the color a little bit. Just a tiny bit, and adjusted the headline and moved some things around to kind of made that a little bit smaller to have a nice font hierarchy and balance. But what I was just about to do is click on the photo and mess around with the blending mode just one more time to make sure there's not anything else we can add, that another blending mode that might work better. So I'm in Appearance, Opacity, and this is the opacity, and to the left is where you can adjust the blending mode. So I'm going to try a couple of them out. Multiply, Color Dodge, Overlay. I think we pretty much found the right one right off the bat. That one's kind of more subtle. That's interesting. Let me do Screen. Ooh, I really like how Screen looks. It almost has an Instagram filter kind of faded look. I love it. So I'm glad we experimented there. Let me move this up a little higher. Maybe move this down just a little bit. Maybe make it smaller. Now that I really like the photo. And now that the text is no longer over a photo, I could probably back off the drop shadow and make it a little less apparent. So I'm just going to do reduce the opacity on my drop shadows, just so it doesn't look fake or too strong. Got to be careful with drop shadows not to make them too strong. I actually like it strong on the 2020. There we go. So I think we're done with this poster. I can continue to mess around with some of the elements. I can mess around with this all day. Sometimes it's good to call it a day and say, I'm done. I think that works well, and I'm ready to send it to the client.